Welcome everyone to the Million Mom Movement. I am Ashley Morales, and I have been with the Million Mom Movement for all of 1 month now, and I'm very passionate about this because of what it's done for my family, focusing on organic nutrition and helping so many other people to include organic food into their lives and to see the ripple effect of how amazing their lives have become as a result. I'm joined with my fellow Million Mom Council members, Naiva, Allison, and Sherry. And today we are going to be talking on the topic of mind, body, baby, and preparing for parenthood. So we're going to take a holistic approach. And so I am so excited to share what I have learned myself personally. I did not get to have the holistic approach throughout my pregnancy. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. So before we dive in, we're going to read the pledge, and we have La'a, who has volunteered to do that for us so graciously. So let me find you and unmute you. And if you could read this for us, that would be beautiful.
Alrighty, aloha, beautiful people. Here's the pledge. I pledge to defend the health of myself and my family. I pledge to choose organic foods that are minimally processed and free of man-made ingredients. Amen. I pledge to read labels and educate myself on all aspects of clean living. I understand that my actions today will positively impact the health and environment of future generations. I am committed to sharing this movement of many. I am the Million Mom Movement. Mahalo. Thank you.
Thank you, La'a. And before you mute yourself, can you please share what this movement means to you?
Yes, this movement has brought me more education, more community, and hope for maybe one day that when I become a mother, I will be prepared, right? Not only physically, but mentally, spiritually. And yeah, and I've actually asked the magic question to some of my family members about reading labels. And when I asked them, they said, "Oh no, I don't read labels." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it tears my heart," right? Because like they really don't care or they don't know, yeah, what to look for. So being a part of this movement is very important and critical for me so I can share with my family and friends.
Oh, beautiful, La'a. Thank you so, so much. And that actually is a great jumping off point for where we are going, having that foundation. We are going to be talking about what we are, the Million Mom Movement, and the fact that we want to empower communities to be able to nourish themselves properly and read labels and to be empowered by the fact that what they're putting in their bodies is actually helping them and moving them forward towards whatever their goals are. So that's our mission. And then of course we have the fact that some of us are moms or will be moms, and we want to be able to focus on the importance of the nutrition in that journey. So we're going to look at preparing for birth and fertility, setting that foundation, and also what the role of the gut microbiome plays in that. So that's where we'll start first and foremost. It is so important when we are looking at nutrition and the role that it plays in fertility. What we put in our bodies is what we become. And then those cells are what our life inside of us become. And so our microbiome is what we pass on to our children. And it's so important that we focus on that. And that is something that I didn't have the privilege of doing with my 3 babies. And that's okay, because now I can teach them to do it. And so what I experienced was extreme postpartum depression. And it was ×3 because my babies are so close together. And so I had this heavy cloud over my head, basically. And I didn't know where to go from there. But having this nutrition cleared everything up and cleared everything up in my gut and gave me mental clarity, which helped with my anxiety, depression, and other complex PTSD things that I was dealing with aside from my postpartum depression. So it's amazing what this gut microbiome can do. So let's talk about how it plays this very vital role in supporting your fertility. So first of all, it's hormonal balance. So let's look at this. I kind of had this picture in my head of like this bustling city in our guts. And each type of bacteria represents its own different community within this city, and they all have their unique roles. So we have the guardians, and that's, like our city's police force. And they're beneficial bacteria, and they protect the environment. They fight off harmful pathogens and prevent infections that can disrupt fertility. And this is super important for our hormonal balance. That microbiome plays that crucial role in regulating that. And when we have hormonal balance, what happens with that is we have the menstrual cycle and ovulation and the healthy metabolism, and all of this is coming from our hormone levels, which a lot of people don't know that about almost anywhere from 80 to 90% of our hormones are actually created in our gut. So knowing that empowers us to know, okay, what I'm putting in my body is going to feed that microbiome and create this bustling city, thriving city. It also is important that we have the nutrient absorption. So that's a diverse and balanced microbiome, and that will enhance, when we have that diversity, that will enhance the absorption. So keeping a key watch or an important watch on what our vitamins are, so that we're getting them from food. The folates, the zincs, the B vitamins, that they come directly from food sources, not synthetically made in a lab. And our nutrient absorbers are the farmers in our community, in our little city. So you can picture them as the bacteria that are tending to their fields. They break down food and compost food for us and convert it into essential nutrients, which are absorbed into the bloodstream, nourishing our body and supporting reproductive health. The next part of our microbiome that's important is our immune function. So that's when our microbiome is performing in a healthy way, it supports our immune system. And that way we can, that's actually what helps us to have a healthy conception and pregnancy. And this protects against infections and protects against complications during fertility. So who our let's see, they are, that's the guardians. Those are our guardians. That's who's protecting, that's our police force. So that's who's protecting, giving us the beneficial bacteria and fighting off. And then our immune, that's our immune function. Our hormonal balance is actually, let's go to that one I said first, that's the communicators. So that one is, you can think of the communication networks in the city, and that's how they send different signals to the different parts of the body, ensuring that the hormones are balanced and everything is functioning smoothly. So that is our guardians, our farmers, and our communicators. Now we have one more that's super important, and that is the peacekeepers. So what's a peacekeeper? So that function in our microbiome is our my notes, the inflammation reducer. So like a peacekeeper, they resolve the conflicts, and these bacteria manage the inflammation levels to keep our environment calm and conducive for pregnancy, which it reduces our chances of complication. And we know that inflammation, it can reside internally. It doesn't have to show up externally on our face, as in swelling or redness, but it can live in us and around our organs and other cells. And the thing is that it's inflammation is either pain, redness, or swelling. And it can be one of these or it can be all of them. And it can, like I said, be invisible. So it's so important that we have those peacekeepers. And the beautiful thing is that we have an amazing way to nourish the microbiome and create this bustling city with the amazing products that we all know and love, that I'm going to do a screen share now and show what products we have known to support this microbiome throughout the fertility phase, throughout pregnancy, and support us postpartum. So let me pull that up. So we have this amazing blog to pull from. And if you don't know about this blog, I highly, highly encourage you to check it out. I actually will drop it in the chat if I can. Yep. There you go. And this is specifically this one is all the things that we know were formulated by Dave and approved by Dave when he observed his wife going through this whole stage from beginning to end. So let's look at what he recommends. And I just love the quote that it opens up with on this blog, that all moms are heroes. And it's so true. And the fact that our founder of this company has said this himself, it's a quote directly from him, and believes this, is so reassuring to know that he wants us to continue with our journey of being heroines and to be able to share this with others and support ourselves so that we can be or feel superhuman. Okay, so pre-pregnancy. We've got here the tips. Here is stay away from anything non-organic, as it may have glyphosate. So glyphosate, if you are not aware and part of our community, and we all are very hyper aware of this terrible toxin, this is detrimental to our own health and to baby's health. It is the main active ingredient in Roundup. So this is something that has been proven many studies over to break down the lining of our gut, to destroy our systems internally and create large amounts of inflammation, which we talked about is not good for our health. So staying away from non-organic foods will help lessen our intake of glyphosate actually by 90%, which is huge. And then we have these amazing products in the Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation, which will assist us in reducing the amounts of glyphosate that are already present in our body, that we've been accumulating for years, because our bodies actually do not know how to detoxify this chemical specifically. So it's important that we have assistance with the foods that we eat, which is the 90-day way that we encourage you to do, is prepare your body ahead of time with the Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation. And that would be with the Parasite Cleanse, the Super Cleanser. Now, as you move through to actually being in pregnancy, then we suggest that you do not continue with the Super Cleanser once you are pregnant, because it's just a little too strong for baby. But instead, we have a way that you can have the Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation, and you can swap it out for the cracked cell chlorella, which is absolutely amazing. If you see here, it helps detoxify heavy metals. It's also a chlorella growth factor is very important, and which is that regulates the cell growth and stops mutation when cells are growing where they ought not. And so that's going to help with breaking down those I completely lost the word, but it's going to kill off the bad cells and allow our body to do that. Autophagy? Anyway, chlorella is amazing for us. And we also have during the first trimester, what he recommends is the daily core 4, which is your ultimate lifestyle transformation, reduced down to 1 serving a day, just so that you're continuing to have those in. There's so many that have benefited from continuing on the having those 2 shakes a day still. And if you have, please put in the chats what you have experienced and loved doing throughout your pregnancy as well. Also can't beat this. This is amazing for those low energy moments. And then we can also mix in that super low, which gives you just so many more satiating factors too. Then we've got in the second trimester, the daily core 4 continued, and the chlorella, adding in the daily fiber, because, you know, sometimes with baby pressing down on all of the organs, it can create some sluggishness in our bowel movement. So adding in this healthy way that is not synthetic, having this amazing digestive thing can really help. And then adding in the bio fruit and we don't carry the tropic oil anymore. However, finding a really good quality coconut oil will be extremely helpful for, you know, getting those belly rubs in. Then you've got the third trimester, continuing with the core 4, the bio fruit and cracked cell chlorella. It's going to be a great time to increase your super aminos and add in some spirulina and seed from nature, which I have heard amazing things from other people who have been able to incorporate these during the third trimester, and how it's given them the longevity and the energy to make it through their delivery and to have energy to spare afterwards even. So it's just amazing what our bodies are capable of alone, and then you power them with superfoods and it's just, we're unstoppable. And then post-pregnancy, we want to incorporate everything that we've been doing all along and then include barley green juice, which is amazing for milk production. I actually was able to see how this benefited me. And this was amazing. It was something that I actually went through a period of time that my milk was just slowing down and I didn't know what the cause was. And I literally took a shot of that barley green juice, and it was about 2 hours later that I actually was needing to change my clothes because I had so much that was coming and I needed to keep the leaking happening, feed baby right away. So it is definitely something that will support your milk production. And I have an amazing testimonial about that. So some extra tips would be stay away from electromagnetic frequencies as much as possible. Get outside, ground yourself. Take some time to nurture your mental health for the sake of your health and future baby's health. Emotions actually will affect our hormone production. So it's important to be present and focus on what is happening with our bodies and giving ourselves that grace that what's happening is we're growing a human, and that's good. And we can be proud of it. Watch the consumption of alcohol before and obviously during, and sugary foods. Monitor the use of herbs, making sure that they don't have any contraindications for our pregnancy. And if possible, consider asking help from a midwife. And I love that because so many midwives have so much experience in dealing with things from a holistic perspective. So now I would love to hear from some others that have been able to have an amazing journey. And first of all, I'm going to call on Sarah. See if I can get you to unmute. If you are here, Sarah, can you just raise your hand for me? Oh, you're unmuted already. Go ahead.
Hi, yay. Can y'all hear me okay?
Perfectly.
Yay, good. Thank you. That's really awesome about the barley greens and really good to know. That's really cool. I look forward to that story. Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Cole. I I'm here today to share I'm 36, almost 37 weeks pregnant as of right now, and with my third baby. And it was very different. So I'm 41 years old as well. And my first two children, I have a 17-year-old and a 10-year-old. So I was in my early 20s, 24 with my daughter, 31 with my son, and now 41. And to see the difference, pre-Purium babies versus Purium baby was probably the most exciting. Not only even just for my doctors, they're like, you're so healthy, you've maintained, their weight regimen and all of that stuff. But I have a lot of genetic disorders and a lot of things that were going on before. And one of the things, some of them have even passed on to my son genetically. And so we were very nervous that the same thing was going to happen. And so far, baby, like she said, like it's like stopped mutation of cells. Like baby is totally healthy. I have Ehlers-Danlos in all systems, vascular, cardio, gums, muscle structure, hypermobility, and then so it's a connective tissue disorder. And then I also we found out recently that I have bicuspid aortic valve disease, which is pretty common. But my aortic valves, the three leaflets at the bottom, are only two. They fused in birth, which is what passed on to my son is the EDS and the bicuspid valve. And so we were nervous, that these things are kind of transferred to my newest baby. And so far, no. But the biggest experience I think that I've experienced also was with MS, which I learned through this pregnancy is that MS kind of goes dormant when you're pregnant, which is awesome. So yay for that. But, and that's more trauma related, similar to PTSD, trauma, very traumatic life and stuff like that. Mental spinning. I'm also like what would be considered Asperger's, ASC level 1 verbal. So the mental spinning was able to be more clear, being able to like focus on when someone's talking to me instead of looking everywhere. My partner used to ask me like, who are you talking to? And I'd be like, you. And he'd be like, why are you looking over there then? And I'd be like, I don't know. I just too much going on here, I guess, And so there was just a lot of chronic fatigue from these disorders, especially with the heart and EDS, and then also muscular dystrophy. I had like this compilation of horridness, especially as a kid. I was allergic to everything, had to get allergy shots every Friday. So changing my diet alone with Purium has not only for myself gotten rid of neuropathy pain from the MS, my allergies, things like that went away. That's what made me stay with Purium even pre-baby. I was going through perimenopause, like losing my hair, all the things, erratic periods and things like that. So it really surprised me that I even like got pregnant right now. I was like, that was really neat. And so Purium kind of made my body in a healthy state where I didn't think that I was before. But with my daughter and my son, I did not have the best diet at that time, especially with my daughter. I don't know if it's just, having the girl versus the boy, wanting more sweets and pastries versus like raw food that I wanted with my son. But both pregnancies were rather difficult. And with my son in particular, with EDS, you get really bad constipation, morning sickness, but to the point where it's HD, that Harris gravis is, or however you pronounce that. And I was sick to like 7, 8 months with him and couldn't even hardly eat. And I was so nervous about his nutrition. And then same, very postpartum, kind of after, even prepartum, I was going through like some really depression and through that time. And with this pregnancy, even at 41, I still had morning sickness just because that's kind of what goes on with the EDS. There's so much mucus being produced with EDS during pregnancy. And so it stops flow, it's backing up, heartburn, all the things. It's been much more manageable. And my power shake was like all I could drink in the first stages. So I was so grateful for the power shake and the LOV, even the dark berry for some reason, which was my favorite. I was throwing up again, which I've now incorporated back and everything. But it ended around month like 3.5, 4, very typical for morning sickness, which I was not used to. And I've been able to create flow. With my son, this is like so embarrassing, but I was so constipated because they were trying to give me Zofran and Finnegan and things to make me not sick so that I could eat. But they were making me not only extremely sick on top of that, but with the added constipation, I would have to get like enemas weekly, sometimes multiple times a week, which is just not good for your intestinal tract and your colon, and not very pleasant to just do. And so, especially when you're pregnant. And so, this pregnancy, I've been able to mostly come through all of that just on my own. They would want to try to give me Miralax, milk of magnesia, Metamucil, all these things. And I'm just like, no, no, no. And heartburn medication, no, like I got it. I got it with my food. And that has really been the blessing for this pregnancy and baby being so healthy, myself being so healthy. But I will attest that super aminos, and then like the can't beat this, all of that, I would be so tired. I'm in my last stage where I'm just like wanting to sleep all the time without these because I was still working. Um, I would not have made it. Like this is my daily multiple times a day. It's how I make it. And then of course all of the different shakes that I make, and even the hydration, like having the cocoa hydrate with can't beat this, and I'll add apothecary, and it's just like such a delightful drink that also helps keep me hydrated at this time, which helps flow. And so many wonderful experience that I haven't gotten to experience with my other pregnancies. So it was mind-blowing to me that my easiest pregnancy has been when I'm at my oldest. And I was like, okay, well, if we're not done here, I'm going to definitely continue that, regimen. And then this has passed on to my children, and especially with my son having a lot of the same disorders that I have, it's very important for me to do that. But the best thing I would say that Purium did was change my diet. And I I felt over the years, I'm a therapist, massage therapist, yoga therapist, aromatherapist, structural therapist. That was my goal, was like health. And then I went back to school to do integrative medicine, more to do holistic and acupuncture, things like that, but to see what the medical field is doing. Like, why are they doing this? Why are they, so I could help combat with holistic care. So I felt over the years that I was getting healthier in my diet, but I still would crave pastries. I loved my sweets and cookies and muffins. And then sometimes being in the South here, I'm from Houston, Texas, and Dr. Pepper, I swear they live off of. And so I still crave soda. And when I started Purium about 4.5 years ago, my palate completely changed. And I didn't crave those things. Even if I wanted to like mentally try to eat them, it would taste bad to me. It was like metallic or just not good. And then I would have an instant reaction where I would get like a headache or migraine and lethargic and had to go lay down and just didn't feel okay. And so my diet completely changed. So it's been 4 years fast food free, soda free, junk food free. Even with this pregnancy, there's been some mild cravings of sweetness, but watermelon's my best friend. I love watermelon. And excuse me. And so it's been more manageable, because with my daughter, all those sweets. I remember one day I had gone from month 6 to month 7, and they did the weight check, and I gained 13 pounds this month. And they were like, whoa, we're putting you on a strict, like, you can't, what are you doing? And I was like, well, I did eat like a whole box of Oreo cookies. And she was just like, what? I'm like, in a day. And she was like, oh my gosh, no, we're limiting you. And even then I did have to restrict my diet. So just to prove where diet was, they limited me to 1 pound from month 7 to 40 weeks. And I'm over here freaking out, like, this is the last stage. I'm going to be like getting huge, 1 pound a month. How am I going to do that? So I cut out salt, I cut out sugar, I just ate like chicken salad, fruits, things like that. And I managed the 1 pound a month. And it was like eye-opening to me how much diet really is the key in lifestyle. And that's, with all my disorders, that's really the bottom line, is diet and lifestyle, making sure I'm staying healthy, working out, doing things like that. But I need the energy to do that with all these chronic fatigues. So again, my super aminos, can't beat this, and even be energetic, things like that. American ginseng, all of these things we have to support us within this company that we know are grown well. They're in regenerative soil, they're made organically, has just been the highlight to my life right now. And so people will try to feed me other things, and I'm just like, no, we're good. And that's been really happy. But baby's heart looks good on all ultrasounds and echoes. So we don't see any genetic carryover there. No signs so far of any genetic markers on all the testing, because with these high risk things that I have with my pregnancy and the geriatric maternal age there that they call us, I get all those testings, and so nothing so far has transferred over. And that also was a huge win for me and just an attestament to what we're doing here. And so I was very happy to have a post Purium baby and look forward to trying the barley grains and expanding my milk. So I'm just excited. And that is my story. I am complete.
Oh my goodness, Sarah, that was amazing. So many amazing points that you were so generous to share, and you were so open to share, and there was nothing embarrassing in there at all. We all know, the ones of us that are moms, we understand all of the things you were talking about, and it's just so nice to hear the power of epigenetics. I mean, you are feeding and being able to fuel your body in a way that is allowing all the amazing genetic expressions that you have to pass on, to just send only those ones, and for only those genetic expressions to show up in
Yeah.
you baby that's going to be
Thank
coming into
you.
your life. We're so excited for you. Thank you so much for sharing. Congratulations on having
Thank
such
you.
amazing.
I've got like 3-4 weeks left and we'll be ready to go into our birth plan. And so I'm you think that you're ready each time, but it hit me the other day, like I'm about to have to go through this again. Okay, exciting. So I'm trying to pump myself up for all of that and just sleep a lot and take my greens.
Good job, Mama. Thank you so much for sharing, Sarah. I appreciate you so much for coming on. Okay, that was amazing. And we also have the Fleming sisters with us. I need to find you guys. And if one of you are, or I believe both of you might be able to share. That would
Yeah. Hi. Hi. Beautiful stories. Thank you for sharing.
So I would love to hear from both of you. What has been your experience with these amazing products that we have integrated into our lives, and how have they benefited both of you on your journeys through motherhood?
I love it. I'll let you start, Rita.
Okay. Well, thank you. I've been lucky enough to be on these superfoods for over 5.5 years and have had a huge transformation throughout that process. So I feel blessed that I was really nourished coming into pregnancy. And right now I'm 28 weeks pregnant, and it's been a really smooth pregnancy. Of course, I did deal with some nausea in the first trimester, but I was so grateful to have the amino acids, because getting that protein, those aminos in first thing in the morning was so helpful, because I found I really would just get nauseous if I didn't have enough calories right in the morning. So having a shake, being able to take the aminos at night before bed, it would really help to prevent that nausea and help me to address it quickly. So that was amazing, just having these nutrient dense foods on hand. And then as I started to grow, the amino acids have also been extremely helpful, just helping to prevent stretch marks and support that skin elasticity. And then I know it's really supporting baby and their brain and nervous system development and all of their development. So that's been incredible. And just making sure that I don't bonk, because, we get busy as entrepreneurs, as humans. So just it allows me to make sure that I'm getting enough nutrients in throughout the day, especially on those busy days, which is incredibly helpful. And then also I found, it takes a lot to stay hydrated when you're pregnant. And so having the cocoa hydrate on hand has been so important to get all of those electrolytes and get that deeper hydration. So that has been pivotal and necessary. And then the tart cherry has also been incredible, just with helping to flush out the body, flush out the kidneys, flush out the liver, flush out any inflammation. So that has been also just a godsend. And especially in preventing different things like preeclampsia and things that women can deal with, having that nourishment and that nutrition is number one for addressing those things and staying ahead of those things. So I'm just really grateful. I'm sipping on that tart cherry juice all throughout the day and immediately feel such a difference for myself and for my baby. So it's just been phenomenal. And I've also craved the Epigenius family. Like my body loves it. And it's really helpful to know that I'm getting that gut support, because we all are exposed to toxins on a daily basis. So helping to gently remove that to make sure that I'm as healthy as possible, my baby's as healthy as possible, my gut is as healthy as possible is everything, right? Because that impacts our neurotransmitters and everything else. So that's been great. And then just that nutrient density of the Epigenius family and everything that's in it and the healthy fats. And I just know my bases are covered. And then I've also been adding in a little bit of the zinc aid just to support my immune system, which has been phenomenal. And adding in the biofruit for that extra vitamin C boost, which is a necessity for our baby's development, but it also helps to prevent any infections. And I know a lot of women can deal with UTIs and different things like that throughout pregnancy and just have more sensitivity. So I haven't had to deal with any of that and just been able to stay ahead of everything. And I feel phenomenal. I feel so good. And I'm just so grateful for these nutrient dense foods because really, I'm preparing. This is my first baby. This is my first pregnancy. So I'm preparing for a healthy birth. And the greatest way that we can prepare for that birthing experience is staying on top of our nutrition and our hydration and taking care of ourselves throughout pregnancy. So I feel really grateful and set up for everything that's to come.
Yeah, and just watching and witnessing Rita, I've been amazed at her energy levels. Like, in the first trimester, she was a little bit more tired, sleeping more, but every time I see her, I'm like, how you doing, Rita? How's it going? And she's like, oh, I'm great. And I'm just witnessing and amazed at her energy levels, which I know has to do with her nutrition routine and her daily self-care.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then my story, I've had the blessing of having 2 Purium babies, as we call it. And my first son, I got pregnant and had him before I found Purium. And so it's been a really interesting contrast. When I got pregnant with my first son, I considered myself an extremely healthy person at the time. I've been in the health and wellness field for many years, always kind of really staying up on my nutrition. And I had a really healthy pregnancy with him. But it was 13 months postpartum that I started to experience postpartum depletion. And this was hair falling out, nails breaking, moods all over the place, my sleep super disrupted. And I was like, what the heck is happening? Like, I consider myself to be an extremely healthy person. Like, what's going on? And at the time, I had never really heard about postpartum depletion because it's just not talked about. And not to mention 13 months later, right after birth. And I was nursing and I started really recognizing that my body was doing a lot, right? Growing a baby, feeding a baby, and that I had gotten to a state of depletion even in my healthy state. And so that's when I started looking for different solutions and really started getting serious about, the quality of the soil that your food is coming from. And that's really what got me looking into Purium, realizing that maybe I wasn't getting the nutrients I needed. I was sustaining baby fine, but my replenishment wasn't coming back for me. And then I also really started to learn more about glyphosate for sure and how that can affect our gut health and, lead to depletion and things. And so Purium came in 13 months postpartum with my first. And it was literally immediately that I started to notice differences, but it was really 2 months of being on the program where I had this aha moment of like, whoa, I'm back to myself. Like my hair's not falling out anymore. I'm sleeping again. I'm happy. Like my moods aren't crazy. Like, holy cow. And the only thing I did differently was add in Purium at the time. And then I got pregnant with my second son. Let's see. My first son was about 18 months old at that point. So I'd been on Purium for a little while. And I did Purium all throughout that pregnancy. I have another daughter who's now 2, done Purium throughout the whole pre-pregnancy, pregnancy, and post-pregnancy. And I can happily say that I didn't experience any postpartum depletion symptoms with my 2 following kids. And like I said, the only difference was I had incorporated Purium routinely into my life. And something really interesting was that with my first son, when the placenta came out, the midwife noticed a little bit of calcium deposits on my placenta. It looked extremely healthy, but there was a few little calcium deposits. We weren't sure where they came from. And then with my other 2 kids, both placentas had 0 of those deposits. So I don't know, I can't say exactly what that's from, but I can say that introducing Purium into my life has really helped me to even cleanse my body more in a healthy way, super nourish myself, and my kids are just thriving because of it. We are definitely a Purium strong family where every single person in the household takes Purium. My youngest daughter started all my kids, their first food was really some fruit and then Purium to follow. So yeah, that's a little bit about my story, and I appreciate the opportunity to share.
Mhm. So grateful.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much for sharing. Rita, that is such a beautiful story and share that you have laid this beautiful foundation is so powerful. And I can't say how much there's so many of us who wish we were able to have that. So what a privilege that you're able to do that and build from that. And
Absolutely.
Mary, that was just so amazing to hear that there's actual tangible results that you've been able to see, like from the placenta. And it's just proof that the way we feed ourselves is how we feed baby and how baby grows. And there's actually what you mentioned about postpartum depletion reminded me that I've seen so many statistics, but one of them, the lowest that I've seen is 12% of Americans are consuming the recommended amounts of fruits and vegetables. And that's just the recommended. Now, of that 12%, how many of them are actually getting regeneratively grown organic food?
Mhm.
Less than 1%, right? So it's just so important to look at the source of food. And we have Purium as such an easy way of taking that in because, like you said, we're busy and we're exhausted. So to be able to have an easy way to nourish ourselves is so beautiful. Thank you both so much for sharing. It is just amazing. And I love always when you guys are together. It's the best.
We
Thanks
have
for having
fun.
us.
Thank you. Such an honor.
Thank you so much. Okay, so I actually wanted to do something a little bit different as we're closing this call. And I wanted to just lead you all through just a nice little grounding breathing exercise because of the fact that that is a huge part of being present and being in that healing phase throughout your pregnancy and how to continue to remain in that is going to take effort. It's going to take awareness of what you're putting in your body and awareness of what you are allowing to affect your emotional state. So if you don't mind, I would love for you all to just make sure both of your feet are flat on the ground and nice and grounded. And to be able to just take a moment to close your eyes if it feels comfortable for you. And place your hands either at your side or one over your heart, one on your belly, especially if you have a little one in there now, or if you have had one in there. And just be able to take a slow breath inward through your nose and all the way for 4 counts and hold for 4 counts. And then release for 4 counts. And just as you're breathing in, continue that pace of 4 in, 4 out, 4 hold, 4 out. Think of all the things you want to bring into your body and all that you want to let go and release. And in the holding, be able to sit with the stillness and appreciate the stillness and release. And when you feel ready, just come into your body, wiggle those fingers and toes. Hopefully that felt good for you all to just be in the present, just for a bit at least. But try and do that every day. And if you can, do it outside, get those feet on the earth, because that is so important. I remember the saying from a previous call of the way that you birth is the way you earth. And it stuck with me. And I had to share that as well. So I want to see if there's anything at all that you would like to share, Sherry, on this subject, anything at all that's on your heart.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you. And Ashley, this is an amazing call. You led it so beautifully. I loved what we just did, that little mindful moment, so important. The shares on this call were absolutely beautiful. I love hearing these success stories. I wish so very much that my babies, who are no longer babies, but that my babies were Purium babies. I wish I'd had Purium pregnancies. Mine were difficult in many ways. I had a lot of the things that were mentioned here. I had postpartum anxiety, which I didn't even know was a thing at the time. And that lasted for years afterwards because it sent my hormones out of whack. And it took me years. It actually took me until Purium to really recognize the link, like notice the link, recognize it, and then start to take action on that. And Purium was so essential and impactful in really creating that transformational change within my body. And this was like years after my pregnancy. So imagine. But I wanted to really just touch a little bit on pre-pregnancy because we talked a lot about pregnancy and we talked about postpartum. Fertility, people having, trouble getting pregnant it's real and it happens so often. And it's, become normalized. And something that I think is so important is that like when we think about, getting pregnant, a lot of people, if you're women who are smokers, right? Like that's an obvious one. Okay, well, I should quit smoking before getting pregnant. Or if you, have a lot of alcoholic beverages and you're like, okay, I need to stop doing that because I'm going to get pregnant now. But we don't, or prescription drugs, right? People who are taking drugs will often, try to wean off of them before getting pregnant. And those are all really good things to do. But we don't think about detoxing the body in that same way before attempting to get pregnant. And somebody had mentioned earlier, all of the toxins that we are exposed to. And I mean, it's at this point, we're exposed to something crazy like 700,000 toxins a day, which that number seems so ridiculous, right? But if you really start to break it down from, the mattress you sleep on, the clothes you wear, the water in your tap that you splash your face with in the morning, the water you use to brush your teeth with, the foods you eat, the amount of electromagnetic frequencies that you're, exposed to on a daily basis, like the phones and all the things, the pollution in the air, it starts to add up and you can kind of see how we can get so overwhelmed. Our bodies get so overwhelmed with toxins. And so many of those, a lot of them are within our control, thankfully, but so many of them are not. And so we have to think about detoxifying our bodies before attempting to get pregnant because toxins do so much in the body to confuse it. Our bodies are really smart and know what to do and generally can detoxify all on their own, but not with the amount of toxins that we're exposed to today compared to a couple of decades ago. And so we need to help our body out. We need to take that supportive role and help to clear out some of those toxins so that the body can start communicating effectively within itself. And because it's such an interconnected process. And so mind, body, soul, the connection within is all affected by the amount of toxins that we have circulating our bodies. And of course, the gut microbiome is a big part of that. And so once we start to repair the gut, then everything really starts to fall into place. And now the body can communicate within itself. All those passageways and pathways are open. And that is so important. And that's so key. It creates that foundation. So just like when we're talking about, dealing with a diagnosis. And so we want to get to the root cause and we want to create an environment in the body where it thrives with the diagnosis. We want it to do the same thing when we're thinking about getting pregnant, when we want to be pregnant. And that goes for the male just as much as the female. And that's another aspect I think that's so often overlooked, right? It's like, what can the female be doing? What can the woman do? Yes, we are the ones that are, growing these babies inside of us for 9 months, but it takes two. And so males need to do this as well. And so many of my coaching clients that I work with who are trying to get pregnant, that's one of the first things. And so by the second session, the women's usually bringing their husbands or partners onto the coaching call with me. And they're like, okay, tell them what you just said. And it's like, it's just to say that it's one of those things that I always suggest happens together. Do it together. It's part of the process. It's of stepping into becoming parents, which is partnership that lasts a lifetime, right? And so it just makes sense that you would step into that role as well together. And so there's many ways to do that. Of course, a Purium Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation is the absolute number one. And I argue baseline that everyone should be doing before getting pregnant. It really takes care of all of it, right? It helps to repair the gut microbiome. It helps to detoxify heavy metals from the body. It helps to remove parasites. You cannot do a parasite cleanse while pregnant, but you can definitely do one before getting pregnant. And that's so optimal because again, we underestimate how many people actually are walking around with parasites. No one likes to think about that. No one likes to talk about it. Most of us do have parasites, and then we underestimate what that affects, how they affect our body. And it can have a huge effect on how easily you get pregnant. And then moving forward, of course, once you are pregnant, how that pregnancy goes. And it all, again, just like the body is interconnected, mind, body, soul, each step of pregnancy from before you get pregnant and how you prep for it to your pregnancy and to postpartum are so interconnected. So how you step into this journey is how you are going to come out of it, right? And so if you were depleted going into it, you are going to feel that much more depleted coming out of it. And so it really is about doing all that we can do at the beginning, being very proactive. And that's going to help to ensure that the entire journey is a beautiful one and a healthy one for everybody. So that was just what I wanted to add.
Thank you so much, Sherry. That is so powerful. And, I even love that made me think of the fact that you're including in the entire family, right? Everybody who is a little bit of feedback. So there's a lot of other people who are involved in the cocoon that we build around ourselves, right? And I just was thinking it made me think of the fact that we are giving ourselves this amazing gift by doing this ultimate lifestyle transformation. We are showing ourselves this super high form of self-love. And imagine that vibration that we are sending out into this little circle of our home, and with our families doing it, what that vibration that's coming back that they're sending to us, because they're taking care of themselves and able to fill their cup, and then from an overflow pour out onto us that high vibration, and that whole just circulating in your home. Can you imagine? So that is so powerful, not only to think about how are we grounding ourselves, how are we feeding ourselves, but also what is our mood and emotions in our home. So I love that you brought out that everyone has a part in that as well. So
absolutely. And I also just wanted to jump in and share a quote that Dave had mentioned, and I think it works beautifully here. Naive, I see you just put it in the comments. Can we imagine a world where imagine what our world would look like with just one generation of consciously conceived children? Can you imagine how incredible that would be? And that is what is available to us. Even if we've, like myself, I already have my kids and I'm not planning on having any more kids. I have beautiful grandchildren, and both my grandchildren are Purium babies already. And so I can just imagine moving forward that even if you're done with having your own babies, putting that forward and sharing that and creating that awareness for others who are just stepping into this journey is a beautiful thing too.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you, Naiva, for putting that there for us too. That's a huge lesson for us to all take away and take to heart. So we have just a couple minutes. If there's anybody here that has a story that is 2 minutes or less that they would like to just share with us, please just raise your hand and I would love for you to share as well. And just open it up for, or if there's any comments or anything that you want to say to those who were able to share anything at all, I would be happy. And I'm just going to take a look through the comments and see if there were any questions. I know that there were a couple people asking for the replay, which of course this will be available. If not, we can close in a little early.
I could add one thing that I forgot to add.
Please.
I really wanted to share also how amazing the ionic elements have been throughout pregnancy, because women can, one, it helps, you know, with all of those micronutrients, which is so important, and keeping those minerals high. But so many women also deal with pretty intense leg cramps at night, or can, and it's really prevented that and helped me immensely. So deepening that sleep, making sure we're getting what we need as far as minerals. I just wanted to add that in because it's been amazing.
Oh, that is a game changer. I can't even imagine how many minutes accumulated of sleep I've lost over leg cramps through my pregnancies. And just having those trace minerals, and that magnesium is one of them. That's so important. Thank you for adding that. That's huge. Amy, you have your hand raised. Want to share or add something?
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to weigh in as a lady who has never been pregnant and anticipates not being pregnant. I just wanted to say thank you, thank you so much for all your shares. Your very personal journeys still touch me, even though that wasn't part of my journey. And I feel so edified and educated to be able to speak to others about this subject, even though I have never gone through it personally. And I really feel, as one female to another, no matter what we decide to do with our lives, we are a sisterhood, like Naiva always mentions. We can support each other. We can be mothers and aunties and sisters to each other, and that our families really need that. So even if you are talking to someone that isn't pregnant or it doesn't plan to be pregnant, never write that person off. This is the natural way of familyhood, and we can support each other. And I just wanted to say thank you again to everybody.
Beautifully said, Amy. And as somebody who appreciates you personally as one of the aunties in my children, I appreciate that share so much. And it's so true. This call, I want to emphasize that this is something that I am so excited for moms to have, to get their hands on, and for you to share and share and share for moms. And I would say equally excited for you to share this with their villages. What are the people, who are the people that are going to surround this mom? They need this education too. And like I said, they need that self-care and love for themselves to be able to build their own little microbiome, that's that bustling city within them, to be able to vibrate out to the mom, to give that mom everything she needs also. So thank you so much, Amy, for sharing that. That was special. All
And
right.
also, sorry, I just want to jump in with that one. Also, they say that to be really holistically and optimally healthy, right, is to be very fertile. So, I mean, whether you plan on being a mom or not, we all want to get to that place of being optimally holistically healthy. And so that everything that was mentioned here today is truly for everyone, moms or moms in the future or not, or aunties or anyone. I mean, it really is for everybody.
Yeah, everyone, moms, dads, aunties, uncles, everyone. So thank you again for everyone who participated. This is a beautiful call. We're going to go ahead and close it out, and I'm going to send it over to Sherry to share our call to action for this call.
Okay, so our call to action this week is basically what we have been asking you guys to do each and every week over recent months, is just to share the call, but also to share, if you feel called to, share your personal story and how it relates to this call. Because it's not just about the information that we share, it's about our personal journeys. As you see from our Fierce Friday calls, I think the most impactful parts of these calls is when we have people on who share their stories. Because nothing hits closer to home, nothing gets someone's attention more so, especially this day and age, I find, with so much, so we get so bombarded on social media, so many different influencers, all claiming different things, all talking about different things. I know that for myself, what really gets my attention is when someone's speaking from the heart about their own personal journey. And so we encourage you guys to share your own journeys, whether it pertains to fertility, or pregnancy or not, but really just to kind of take this movement forward. And so that's what we're asking you to do. Naive is amazing at getting the replays for these calls up within 24 hours usually. And so this call will be available to share within 24 hours or so. And so we are asking and encouraging everybody to do that. Don't forget that you can like, follow, and share, and we hope that you will. Like us on Facebook at the Million Mom Movement. We have our group and join our community Facebook group, Million Mom Movement Official. Replays are posted there as well. Follow us on Instagram, and don't forget to tag us in your stories and posts, and of course, all your call to actions. Naiva is also incredible at finding all of your shares and resharing them on our pages. So don't forget to hashtag either the Million Mom Movement, or I am the Million Mom Movement, or we are the Million Mom Movement, and that's how she's able to find your shares and reshare them. And probably most important here is don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel to get access to all of our replays. Every single replay that's ever been recorded from the Million Mom Movement can be found on the YouTube channel. Like I always share, long before I was a council member, and I just joined Purium and heard about the Million Mom Movement, I was binge listening to all of these replays while I was making supper, folding laundry, driving in the car. There's such a wealth of information to share, but also just for yourself to learn from. And don't forget to join us weekly for this Fierce Friday call at 2 p.m. Eastern. Next week's subject will be self-care tips for busy moms, creating financial freedom in 15 hours a week. So we're going to talk a little bit about self-care for moms, mom entrepreneurs, and how it all comes together, with some, of course, very important health tips and how to stay healthy and thrive and energized through it all. Back to you, Ashley.
Thank you so much, Sherry. Beautifully said. And now we'll go ahead and end this call. Thank you so much, everyone, for gracing us with your presence. And we're so grateful for all of those amazing shares. So take care and have an amazing Friday. Bye, everyone.